business. There's no doubt. They've come in, thanks Jay for recording. They've come in and they've absolutely crushed it. Okay. In the very beginning, they have worked hard. They've talked to people, but ultimately if Caleb and Amber want to go to another level, it's not about what they know. It's about what they can teach, right? They have people in their organization who maybe aren't setting appointments the right way, or maybe they're saying too much, or maybe they're texting instead of calling. I don't know. All these fundamental challenges are normal, but we cannot discount them. We cannot procrastinate when it comes to correcting them, because at the end of the day, I tell people this in every training that I do. Okay. In every training that I do, please mute if you're not yet muted. Every training that I get asked to do, they ask, how are you having so much success? How is your team having so much success? Whenever obviously we are, I say it's real simple, Jay. It's real simple, Drew. We are very good at getting in front of people, and we are very good at teaching people how to get in front of people. Okay. If you want to go to another level, get in front of some people that has credibility, right? If you're training a Danielle Bennett or a Clinton Giglio or a Jay McKinney, you should be getting results because of the credibility these people have. But if I don't teach them how to do it the right way or help them do it the right way, that credibility and that great warm market gets wasted, right? And we have to go to another level when it comes to that going into Thanksgiving. One last thing I'll say before I bring Daryl up is what we're going to do. And it started yesterday. So Jay, don't get mad at me. I had to go ahead and say that first. Anybody that gets a sale or a recruit started yesterday will get a Primerica Polo. Okay. This ends at midnight on Thanksgiving. So yesterday until Thanksgiving is over, a Primerica Polo. Now, right now we have Jay McKinney, Drew Craig, and Seth DeVille have all qualified for a Polo. Now, I know some of y'all did COD apps. Those COD apps go through by Thanksgiving. You absolutely count. Okay, so don't get mad at me. I know Clinton's texting me right now. Clinton, you ain't got to worry about it. I'm on top of it. So, but what I want to do, guys, hey, listen, like I said, please take this very, very serious. We have more talent than I've ever seen, but we have to develop that talent, and it's up to us. It's not up to them to just figure this stuff out, right? And like I said before, so Daryl, if you would, my man, you and I, it was great seeing you Thursday. I appreciate you staying over at the house and spending a little bit more time with me and my family. So if you would tell us a little bit about, I hit on a couple of points for you to go over, but tell us a little bit about what's going on and what your plans are.
Good morning, everybody. I want to thank you, Mike, for letting me come on and speak this morning. And I know me and you kind of been talking a lot lately about making a move, and that move I'm talking about making is going full time right now. And when I tell other people, about me thinking about going full time and getting ready and making plans to do that, they don't see the vision that I'm talking about. They don't understand what I'm doing because they're like, hey, man, you work at LSU. You got a great paying job, you got a pension, you got benefits. Why would you even consider leaving that job? And what it is they don't understand the vision that I have for me and my family and what I actually want to do. Yeah, I make good money, but still, I'm not where I want to be at because I still can't just pay for my son's field trip that's coming up, to Washington, D.C. without asking other people for money. Yeah, I make good, but, his trip is going to be $1,500. I'm sorry, I don't have $1,500 to just give from the household to say, hey, Christian, here you go. You can go to DC and have fun. I can't do that. I want to be able to live comfortably for me and my family because I've experienced what it feels like to make more than what I'm making right now. I worked for the Department of Defense for a couple of years. I was making over $100K doing that. But I wanted to be with my family, so I had to sacrifice that job, move back to Louisiana, make less money. But now I got my family. But now I'm like, man, that money and the family, I got to choose between the two. I don't want to choose between the two anymore. I want to have both. I want to have that freedom that I see Mike get to have when Mike gets to be at all of his son's games. I want to do that because Christian, I try to teach him to be a Grambling Knight. Hey, I'm a G-man all the way through and through. If you follow me on Facebook, I talk about Grambling all the time. But hey, he's now saying, hey, I like Clemson, Dad. I want to go play at Clemson. If he goes and plays at Clemson, right now, my current situation does not give me what I need to be able to go to all of his games if he goes and plays at Clemson. So I need to put myself in that situation. My twins, they want to go to all the NASA sites now. They went to NASA in New Orleans, and now they want to go to Florida, and they want to go to Texas. I got to be able to do that for my family because I only have one life to live, and I'm tired of being controlled by somebody else right now and telling me what I can do and when I can do it. So I'm trying to put myself in the best position to be able to do something different. Right now with LSU, I'm on salary. I can't make more money right now even if I wanted to, no matter how many hours I work. Most people work 40 hours. I work 60 hours for LSU and probably another 20 or 30 doing other things on the side. I need to be able to focus on Primerica right now because Primerica took care of me when my family needed it the most. Everybody may not know, but Christian went through an injury last year that had him out of school all last year, basically at home. So I had to take off from LSU, use all of my sick leave, all of my earned hours to be at home with him. And the way I was able to get through was Primerica. I wasn't able to put in a lot of time, but the time I did put in provided enough income to be able to make ends meet for me and my family. And I'm like, man, if I only put in 2 hours a day with Primerica and I was able to do that, what would it look like if I was able to put in a full 8-hour day with just nothing but Primerica? What would that look like for me and my family? And I'm telling you right now, I'm fired up about it. I'm really ready to go into this and I am going full time. I'm ready to do that and go ahead and do what I need to do for my family. I sat with a guy, a national sales director, a couple of days ago, and he told me, hey, what you think about financial freedom now is minute compared to what it actually looks like when you go full time. And he started telling me some of his stories, and I got a chance to see Mike grow. Mike has been growing since I've known him, and I'm watching how his freedom is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And I want a part of that for my family too. I want my family to also be able to say, hey, Mike, we going with y'all on this trip. So that's what I'm looking at now. I want my vision to come to fruition, and I'm going full time. So that's why I would leave a full-time job with LSU to come and do Primerica.
No, great job, Daryl. I appreciate you sharing that, man. And I remember you and me driving to Tallulah on Sundays to do appointments, to do your training appointments. And it's been fun. It's been a lot of fun. One thing about Daryl is it's very hard to match that man's work ethic. There's not very many people that I've ever worked with that work as hard. I met Daryl. He's a computer nerd over at LSU, but he's also a waiter, working for waiter in part-time right there without even somebody saying something, opening their mouth. They're a hard worker, full-time job and doing waiter. And I just knew there was something special when I met Daryl, so I started training him. And as a result of that, we've become close. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Daryl, Clinton, Jay, as far as work ethic standpoint, it is not a bad idea for those guys to be full-time. And the reason I'm saying that is because with that type of work ethic and the results that they get on a part-time basis, full-time, it would just be bigger and better. And you're watching Clinton do it, and it's going to be special. So Daryl, I'm excited to help you get through this. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of people are going to learn a lot from this journey that you're about to take. So thank you for sharing, my friend.
Hey, no problem. You see, I'm up, I'm ready, I'm dressed. I'm about to head out the door after this meeting to go get on it.
There you go. Get you a polo. Oh, I know how you like it.
You know it. Nice and snug.
But next speaker, man, this guy, obviously, everybody knows Jay. He doesn't need an introduction, but Jay, I asked Jay to hit on a couple of points, and a lot of it is because, number one, as we've always talked about, Jay's been one of the top personal life producers that we've ever worked with. One of the best human beings, most committed person, one of the most committed people I've ever worked with. And now Jay is actually recruiting more than he's writing premium, which I've always told Jay, the minute he starts double-digit recruiting, it'll be very hard for folks to compete with him. And I stand by that. He reminds me of Danielle Bennett. He reminds me of Tyler and Drew Craig. You give them people to work with and it's a wrap. That deal is done. And that's what Jay is. That's who Jay is. So Jay, if you would, please hit on those points. I like that jacket, my friend. I want one just like it. Whoever got it from you has some taste. So take it away.
Good morning. Can you hear me, Coach?
Absolutely.
Wonderful. Well, I appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak and to this wonderful group. I like what DJ was talking about. He said something really key, that his vision is not what other people's vision may be. And I thought that was really good. For me, to be honest with you, I like what he said about the freedom as well. And I know for me, if I'm not licensed, and this is kind of what I would kind of back up to, if I'm not a licensed agent, some things that I'm doing on a daily basis, the first thing is I'm going over my affirmations. Believe it or not, you have to see things before you see things, or you won't see things. And you have to speak things into existence before they are. On my mirror in my room, I have very simply 7 recruits by 75 in premium, by past the SIE, past the Series 6, double-digit recruit. Well, right now, those things are unfolding before me. And all I've been doing is speaking that into existence, and the work has been lining up and has been there present for me, if that makes sense. The next thing that I would do is you need to take 30 minutes a day of studying. If you're not licensed, then you need to take 30 minutes a day to study. That means that you're looking at making yourself better, and you're putting yourself in a position to get that life license if you're not yet licensed. The next thing is you need to connect with your upline every day. It's one thing when Mike calls me. It's one thing when Daphne calls me, when Camila Gold calls me. It's a whole different dynamic when I call them. That shows them that, wait a second, this person is a little different. This person is trying to go after something a little bit more than somebody else. And that's not discrediting anybody. But at the end of the day, if I don't call Mike, it's going to be like, wait a second, Jay didn't call. He doesn't really concern himself with that, but he's like, wait a second, if Jay wants to win, then I know that Jay needs to go to this next level. Jay needs to do X, Y, Z. And so I'm reaching out to him. And then the last thing I would say is that you need to work the plan based on the goals that you set. I set a goal to say I want to, double-digit recruit this month. Well, right now I'm roughly 2 recruits away from double-digit recruiting this month. And so that's a combination of me just making a goal and sticking to it. People always want to try to win the year before they win the day. If you win the day, you win the week. If you win the week, you win the month. If you win the month, you win the year. And then kind of just flipping it as I get ready to close, things I would do differently as a licensed agent. Every day I'm going to do my affirmations. I'm going to make sure I see myself winning. I'm going to take 30 minutes of studying for the securities licensing. And if I have a security, I'm going to study for some other licenses. I'm going to connect with my upline as a licensed agent. Now I'm in a different position. Now I'm saying, wait a second. Okay, coach, I'm doing this now. I'm doing that now. I'm still connecting with them. Also, I'm going to work the plan from my planner that I have set up as a licensed agent. The things don't change. They don't change. It's just now I'm doing it with a license. That's the only difference. That's where you go back to the consistency. That's where you go back to the repetition. That's how you win in this business. And regardless of what happens, the last thing I'll say, in either situation, whether you have an appointment that was canceled, whether you have some people that didn't want to, sign up on a policy, if you set your day up and your day falls through, you create. Winners figure it out. And everybody on this call, I'm looking at 24 people, including myself. We all are winners because it's 9 o'clock. We could be doing some other things, but yet and still we're doing things in the midst of things. I would just encourage you to figure it out. Winners figure it out, no matter what it is. As a licensed agent or a non-licensed agent, you figure it out. Because at the end of the day, this is your moment. This is what you can do to go to your next level, to get the extra income. I promise you, when you see that first do not reply email, you don't want to go back. Because that first do not reply email means that you help somebody and then they helped you. So that's all I have, Coach. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. And I thank you again.
Great job, Jay. One thing I'll say, and I'm going to bring Clinton up, is, win the day. Just win the day. I think that that's very, very important, is not only from a consistency standpoint and learning the habits standpoint, just so you don't go crazy, right? I mean, I told Danielle Bennett this. I was like, listen, just do a little bit more today than you did yesterday. Don't compare to all these different people who've had their momentum going longer than you have, right? That's not fair to you. That's not fair to other people. But if you do the things that you're supposed to do to just win today, I tell people all the time, just close today, just make progress today. Now, are you going to close every day? No, you're not. Clinton and I were talking about this the other day. He had, a slam dunk, 2,000 in premium. No way it's not getting closed. And then guess what? It falls apart, right? That's the business. That's how it's supposed. I mean, if it was easy, everybody could do it. But what I said to Clinton was, all right, so how do you operate? How do you react to that? How many appointments do you need? How many KTs do you need to replace that sale? He said 2 to 3. And exactly, right? So you can't control the stuff that falls apart. What you can do is respond to where you replace that sale. And then guess what's going to happen? You form those habits, and then those people are going to call you back and they're going to say, you know what? I want to do business. So now you set 2 or 3 appointments, made a couple of sales, and then that one that you didn't think was going to happen happened, right? And that's just how this business works. So it's forming the habits that put you in a position to close every single day, right? And again, it'll all work out and you'll feel good about things, right? I've been in a situation where I've done 4 or 5 appointments. I thought it was going to be a huge day and I didn't close squat, but I felt good. I felt good because I put in the work, because it was an investment in how I'm spending my time. And I think that's the habits that we all have to adapt and operate with. So Jay, great job. Clinton, if you would, man, you're absolutely killing it. You know, I know that last month you pre-qualified for RVP, and I know right now you're blowing and going. You're studying for your test like Jay was talking. So if you would go over those points that I
Appreciate it, Coach. Appreciate being able to talk today. I'm gonna try to keep it pretty short since I had the opportunity to speak on Thursday night, and I hope most of the people on this call today had the opportunity to be there. So I'm not going to even go over my story where I came from. What I want to talk about is the significance of this business and how great it can be, because I think, I'm looking at some of the people on here. Most everybody's been in for a minute or two, maybe a few new people within the last month. And to talk to those people specific, I see how working this business, some people can get a little bit lost. And I can be completely honest with you, over my journey through this business, there's ups and downs, times where kind of gotten lost on where I need to be. Okay. And those things are very important to be able to identify, because this is not a normal business. This is not a normal job where you just show up. We preach it all the time, where you just show up from 7 to 5 or 8 to 5, whatever the time being is, and you do the work that you're supposed to do and then go home. This is being a self-employed / business owner. You have the opportunity to develop something that's just greater than yourself or anything you can ever imagine. But with that comes some challenges. With that comes some sacrifices that have to be made, and understanding what needs to be done. We preach about making sales. We preach about closing. Yes, that is what produces the income. That is true, 100%. But it's not all there is to building a business. There's so much behind the scenes being a business owner that needs to be done. And it all comes back to having a plan. And that's why we use our planner. I have been probably one of the worst people about using a planner. Mike gets on my butt every single day about not using my planner to the fullest. And the truth is, it's not that I don't want to, it's just that it's not natural to me. I've never had to do that. I've always just shown up to work and known what I have to do that day. And if I don't get it done, guess what? I either get it done the next day, or my supervisor tells me, hey, why wasn't this done today? So either way you go about it, your day is controlled by someone else. Being an employee, you have no say-so in it. Your pay, you have no say-so in how much you get paid. You have no say-so in how long you have to stay at work. You have no say-so in anything. You can't double your income if you wanted to. It's all predetermined by whatever the factors may be. But then you go into being a self-employed person. We talked about this on Thursday night, being in Primerica, first getting started in Primerica. You are a self-employed person. You're not a business owner yet. Now, the good thing about it is that being self-employed, you have more control over what, the income you can make, your time. But if you don't show up and perform, just like Jay was saying, if you're not putting a plan together and you're not going out there and executing and doing everything you can to build your business, you won't have a business. You'll only be self-employed. And it's so great to see Jay. He's been in the business a little bit longer than I have, but it's so great to see Jay recruiting a lot of people now and building his business. That's awesome. I'm excited for him. Me and him have been on each other's coattails ever since I came in the business, just back and forth. But what I want to keep it very simple down to, guys, is having the plan, using a planner. If you don't have one of the 90-day planners that we have in Primerica, get with your upline. You can go online to your website. You can order some. We'll do whatever we got to do to get one to you. But the biggest thing about that is not just getting the planner, but sitting down with someone who knows how to use it so that you can use it properly. Because this business, listen, if you're coming from being an employee, it is going to be extremely hard to organize your day how it needs to be. And that's a big challenge. Like I mentioned already, that was a big challenge for me. Okay, is being able to use that planner properly. But with that being said, I challenge everyone on this call to exceed from where you are at this point. Do whatever you need to do. See, being an employee, you only strengthening your weaknesses every day. But being self-employed, being a business owner, we recognize our weaknesses and we focus on our strengths to keep building bigger and bigger. With that being said, guys, my tip for today is just learn from your upline, communicate with your downlines, build a plan, keep that plan, put it together, and focus on your dreams. Turn it back over to you, Mike.
Hey, Drake, great job, Clinton. And before I bring the last speaker up, I want to hit on something really quickly. Okay. When we talk about the planner and the different things and the self-growth and the different things, it's all a matter of how you look at it. Okay. I was talking to Pioneer Investments the other day, and bear with me. I can put in $60,000 a year into a retirement account and it be legal with the government based off the rules. Okay. So you T personalities, don't wear me out just yet. Stay with me. I know you're thinking 60,000. My God, that ain't the point. Okay. 60,000 a year for 20 years is $4.2 million in a 401k that has tax benefits. Okay. That's awesome. Moses, that's a big deal. $60,000. I can defer taxes. I got 4.2 million. That's amazing. Here's my point. How do you look at the planner? How do you look at the mutual fund? Okay, the mutual fund is the vehicle. My end result is the 4.2 million, but I got to put stuff in that mutual fund. I got to put money in that mutual fund to get the end result, or it doesn't really matter that I have a mutual fund open. That's the same thing with the planner, okay? If you want to become financially independent, it's the same thing with reading a book. You got to fill up that planner, and you got to understand that it's going to be ups, it's going to be downs. Right now, the market is terrible. That is the best opportunity to fill that thing up and keep rocking and rolling. The planner is the same way, okay? If that mutual fund sits over there and there's no activity going into it, there's no action, well, guess what? It's useless. The planner is going to direct you to where you need to go. If you want to get results, that planner needs to be messy. I'd go to Tyler Craig. It's the funniest thing in the world. It drove him crazy. But whenever he had no momentum, I would go into his office. Swear to God, I'm going to start doing it to Clinton very soon. I would go into his office. His planner would be there. Y'all, Drew knows what I'm saying. He was so neat. Like he had an eraser, he had a pencil. I would scribble all over it. I would scribble all over his planner. I'd move his crap all around his desk. And I did it to screw with him, number one. But number two, I was like, man, mess this thing up. You got to get messy. And sometimes getting messy is what's needed. Why? Because you're making a change. You're going after it, right? You need to be forgetting stuff at home. You need to be, and I can go on and on and on, but you got to get out of your own way to accomplish these things. Clinton just said it. This is not a normal business. No, it is not normal for a guy flipping burgers to make $450,000 a year. That's not normal. But I had to stop being normal, right? You got to stop being normal. You got to get out of your own way. If you don't use a planner, you need to use a planner. If you don't read, you got to start reading. If you don't study, you got to start studying. And guess what? You got to really go to work caring about people and helping people get what it is that they want. And I've had the pleasure, this person is one of my favorite people in the world. Had the pleasure of working with her. She's one of the trailblazers. She's very, very important to me. And 2 days ago, excuse my language, but I said, Danielle, you got to quit bitching. All right. The glass is half full. We got to go to work. All right. We got to get this thing and start getting after it. Do you know what Danielle did? All right. And got to work and made phone calls, and she's getting results working with incredible people like Holly. And I just think that she is an example of what you can accomplish if you make some changes, if you go to work, but also being able to stay, keep it going at the house, right? Being able to be a mama and a wife at the same time while her husband deploys. She's an example of what this business can provide to you all around. So Danielle, take it away.
Well, thank you for having me on the call this morning. It's always a pleasure and an honor, and I just kind of feel special being able to speak on the Zoom call this morning. Of course, this would happen as soon as I started speaking. Jeff just came home, so I'm sorry about that. So you kind of asked me to talk a little bit about generating business and being creative and getting some stuff on the books. So I've been doing this for 10 years, as most of you know. And I'm sorry. I had to start over basically. One second. Okay, got rid of the dog. So
You go ahead.
this is my life, and I still, this is why I'm a American, is because it allows me to have chaos at the same time, making money. So, but I basically had to start over in March. Jeff got some not so great news about his really good job, and so I've had to step up. And one thing I had to do is start creating again, and use social media, yes, but don't let that be your only avenue of trying to get in front of people. Recently, a couple months ago, I guess, I posted something on social media just as peak interest. And lo and behold, Holly kind of messaged me on the side and she was like, "Hey, what do you do?" And that was such a perk of doing that, because she has been nothing but coachable. She has 6 kids. She owns a business of her own. She has her own daily challenges as a mom, and she has never once given an excuse. So don't discredit anything, any ways of getting in front of people, okay? Because you'll get your Holly one day. I also go back through my client list. I found that that's probably one of my favorite ways to prospect people, is going back through my client list. I've already earned their trust in their business. So they're most definitely going to give me at least one name and number. That name and number will lead you to other name and numbers, but you have to remember to ask for the referral too. And don't say, "Hey, who do you have?" or "Who can I call?" Just say, "Hey, do you know anybody who has kids, who has a home, who has a job, been in the area for 3 or more years?" Write their names down and get ready. Expect them to give you names and numbers, because I've made the mistake before of like, "Hey, if you think about it, be direct with this kind of stuff." I'm on the phone. So that's another thing is expect them to give you names and numbers. And most importantly, try not to text people. Try not to text. Mike wears us out with this. Y'all, I cannot hammer this into y'all's minds enough. Try to call first. If they don't answer their phone, but they will respond with text message, there's your answer. Maybe they are that generation that responds better to texting. I am old. I prefer to call you first. Texting can kind of be a pain in my butt sometimes, but I'm always looking. 10 years ago, within 2 years, I went through my warm market. However, that warm market has still been providing me names and numbers since. But it's up to me to get back with those people to try to get more names and numbers. And I can't tell you how much business I've written over the last few years from people I wrote policies on 8 years ago. Hey, I've received one of the best compliments from somebody. I was pregnant with Isaac, so it's been about 6 years. I rolled some money over for them, wrote a policy on the wife because the husband got declined. Didn't hear from them for like 3 years. And in January, they called me up and said, "Hey, we found some more money from an old retirement account. We need to come talk to you." So we made the appointment. He came and sat down at the office with me, and he said, "I had somebody approach me and wanted me to give them a chance to talk to me about maybe putting my money with them." And he said, "No." He said, "I told the guy I'm going to stick with my girl. I'm a stay-at-home wife that has 2 kids, really hasn't been doing much the last 3 years for sure. But because I have been coachable over the last 10 years for the most part, I give Mike a hard time. He gives me a hard time, but that's the equity we have in our friendship." He says he wants to roll over $30,000 with me because I'm trustworthy. He can rely on me, and I'm going to shoot him straight. I'm honest. I don't, just be direct, be honest, be friendly, and maintain relationships with these people. That's why I don't ever email. I'm not saying don't email policies, because sometimes you have to, but when given the option, if they are in my reach, I'm not going to email them a policy, because I want to get back in front of them. I want to say, "Okay, here's this, here's that, here's where you can find the details." Because if you don't do that kind of stuff, they're going to be lost. They don't sell life insurance. They've not been doing this for years on end. I guess this is my R speaking, but finesse your relationships with your clients, because they're going to come back one day and they're going to give you names and numbers. And one of some of those clients may come back to you one day and say, you know, I need to make extra money. So you just never know.
Great job, Danielle. That was perfect. It's good hearing you speak. I'm very excited about where you are headed, and you're right. I mean, the beginning of the business, you should be able to go back to your clients, and they should come back to you and say, you know what, you need to see my girl Danielle, or you need to see my man Jay or Clinton or Drew or whatever it may be. And that proves that you've done a great job. And here's the thing for me, anytime I was looking at this while you were speaking, our organization, the one that you and I started in 2012, has been paid $1.7 million this year to date in team cash. Okay. $1.7 million in team cash. The one that you and I started in your church and at your kitchen table and all that stuff that we did. And you sit there and say, okay, well, that's a lot of money for people who had no experience. Okay. And it goes back to me, like what Art Williams said. He said, you know, life doesn't give you what you want. Life will give you what you'll accept. Right. And he goes on to saying, you know, if you'll accept being unhappy, then you're going to be unhappy. If you'll accept being broke, you're going to be broke. But if you want to accept excuses in your life, if you want to accept complacency, if you want to accept negativity, well, then you'll end up being just fine if you put a little work behind it. And I watch you do that. And it's not a secret. You know, every now and again, we get what they call stinking thinking, or we get lazy, or we get complacent, or whatever it is. You got to have people in your life that mean enough to you to get you out of that situation if it's not where you need to be, if it's not where you belong. And you've done that for me for 10 plus years. So I appreciate that just simply from your existence, you and Drew and, you know, everybody. So I'm not going to get emotional here with y'all. It's Thanksgiving, but it ain't Thanksgiving yet. So I'm not crying. Y'all can cry. I ain't doing it. So anyway, we're going to wrap up. Like I said before, thank y'all. It's going to be a very, very big week. Hey guys, let me tell you one last thing. Okay. There's a lot of people who will relax this entire week because it's Thanksgiving, and that's generally what people do. You don't want to fall into that trap, guys. I'm not saying don't enjoy your family time. I'm not saying that you don't need to, you know, reflect, because we all have things we need to be thankful for, some more than others, but also make progress, right? Make a mental note, have a list. I can promise you that I am going to generate business all week. I'm probably not going to write a sale on Thanksgiving, although I might. If I don't write a sale on Thanksgiving, I can promise you I'm going to circle back the next day for whoever it was that I talked to. And I know we got some people going for some big goals. Jay's going regional, Clinton's going RVP. You know, keep that in the back of our minds while we're out there meeting with people for Thanksgiving and enjoying the family time. I think that that's what winners do. They're always creating. They're always making a mental note. Like I said before, anybody that closes a sale, talk to those folks in line. That's right. The grocery store. I did it this morning. Polos. Anybody close a recruit or a sale between now and the end of Thanksgiving will get a Primerica polo. Already got Jay down. Jay's got him an adult small coming. Drew Craig and Seth DeVille are already on the board. Please send that out to your folks. Non-licensed agents. This goes for non-licensed agents. One thing I know, if they're not yet licensed, they probably don't have a Primerica polo yet. They haven't been to a fast start school. They haven't earned one. So if it's me, we got to get Holly one. We got to get, you know, Whitney one. We got to get all these people these polos. And then ultimately, last thing I'll say, there's 2 weeks left in the month. I know it's the 18th, but the way Primerica works, there's at least 2 weeks left. We are going to have the winner's dinner at my house December 10th. Okay. You have 2 weeks to qualify for that. If you have not already, qualification is top 10 challenge score, double-digit recruiters, and non-licensed agents that pass the exam or have passed the exam. So thank y'all. I love y'all. I appreciate everything that you've done for this great organization. Speakers, wonderful, wonderful job. I am cooking dinner with the help of Jeff. I will put some chips in a bowl and have Jeff do the real cooking. That's just how we do things around here. So go Saints, pull it together, get it back going. Go Tigers. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful Thanksgiving. Please call me if I can help you. I will be working all week up to Thanksgiving, and I will not be going out of town. So let's have a great rest of our week and enjoy your Thanksgiving. Thank y'all.